Welcome to the Stoic Tide. The room is quiet, too quiet. You scroll through photos of a dinner with friends you weren't invited to, parties you didn't even know about. Your phone is silent. You tell yourself you enjoy your own company, but the silence is crushing. Loneliness isn't always a conscious choice. Sometimes it's just an echo, the unintentional result of invisible walls we build without even realizing it. The Stoic philosophers understood this perfectly. They taught that our isolation is often not the world rejecting us, but habits we refuse to see in ourselves, habits that silently create distance. This isn't judgment, it's recognition. Seeing these patterns clearly is the first step to changing them if you want to. As Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen more and talk less. Connection requires awareness of how we actually show up, not how we think we show up. Today we'll examine 7 personality traits that quietly push people away, not because you're broken, but because these patterns block genuine connection. I'll show you what each trait looks like and, more importantly, how to change it. The 4th trait is the one most people mask as strength and independence until it's too late. If you're ready to understand the nature of connection through the lens of Stoic wisdom, subscribe and let's start this work together. Trait 1. They make every conversation a monologue about themselves. They think they're sharing experiences. In reality, they're hijacking the stage. I call this conversational piracy. You start to share a problem and they aren't listening. They're waiting for a keyword that allows them to turn the spotlight back on themselves. You mention burnout at work. They immediately interrupt. Oh, burnout. Let me tell you what happened to me last quarter. You share your joy about a new hobby. They're right there with a, but when I started doing that, any conversational thread, no matter where it starts, magically loops back to them. I watched this happen at a cafe. A woman, clearly distressed, was telling her friend she was facing potential layoffs. This anxiety is just eating me alive, she said. Her friend nodded, but her gaze was distant. Before she could finish, the friend chimed in. Anxiety? Let me tell you about my week, my boss. And what followed was a 15-minute monologue about her own stress. The first woman just deflated. She silently sipped her coffee. Her fear wasn't just ignored. It was used as a springboard. The hijacker friend genuinely believed she had supported the conversation. But in reality, she had hung up an invisible sign. Your problems have no place here. Here's why this pushes people away. Friendship is a two-way street. When you constantly direct all the traffic to your own house, people just stop using that road. They learn that being your friend means being a free audience. The Stoics valued listening. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, wasn't kidding about 2 ears and 1 mouth. You can't connect if your ego constantly demands the microphone. How to change this? Practice the pause and pass rule. When someone shares, pause. Don't frantically search your memory for your own story. Instead, ask a question that passes the floor back to them. That sounds awful. What's worrying you the most? If you do share your own experience, make it a footnote, not the main chapter. Trait 2, they keep a precise tally of favors and slights. This is the transactional friend. For them, relationships aren't connections. They're accounting ledgers. Every kind gesture is a deposit. Every mistake is a withdrawal. I helped you move last month, remember? Remember I gave you a ride last week? After everything I've done for you, my uncle had a friend like this. He was the king of it. Remember I drove you to the airport last year? Well, I need you to help me with renovations all Saturday. I've paid for your coffee 3 times, so this dinner is on you. It was unbearable. Every free favor felt like signing a loan agreement. Eventually, my uncle just stopped asking him for anything, because the price of that help was a future obligation he would never be allowed to forget. Here's the truth. Keeping score kills spontaneity. When you do something kind and mentally mark it down as a debt, you aren't giving, you're lending. People feel that difference. They don't want to feel indebted. They want to feel cared for. Marcus Aurelius wrote about doing good without expecting anything in return. True generosity is an act complete in itself. The moment you write it down as a debt, you poison the gift. How to change this? Practice the gift and forget rule. When you do something, consciously tell yourself this is a gift, not a loan. If you catch yourself mentally making a list, stop. That's a signal not that you are owed, but that you have overextended and violated your own boundaries. Next time, just don't do it. But don't send an invoice for past kindness. Trait 3. They are unreliable with time and promises. This is the perpetual latecomer or the maybe man. 20 minutes late, canceling at the last second, forgetting they promised to call. I'll try to be there. I can probably make it. Canceling end your life. Each individual instance seems minor, but as the Stoics said, it's not single actions but patterns that reveal character. We had a guy in our group, let's call him Alex. Every week he was supposed to come to our weekly game night, and every week, 10 minutes after it started, he'd text running late. Or guys, sorry, something came up. At first we waited. Then we just started playing without him. When we planned a weekend trip, no one even bothered to invite him. He was offended. Why didn't you guys invite me? The group leader gently replied, honestly, Alex, we just weren't sure you'd actually show up, and we couldn't wait on the reservations. His habit of small unreliability made him unreliable for big things. Here's what people don't get. Every broken commitment is a message. It says, my time is more important than yours. It says, you cannot count on me. People get tired of constantly managing their expectations of you. They don't hate you. They just stop factoring you into their plans. And when people stop counting on you, they stop calling you. Seneca taught that a person's word should be as binding as a written contract. How to change this? Use the delight or decline rule. Before you say yes, ask yourself, are you delighted by this idea? If it's not a hell yes, say no. A polite, no, I can't make that, but thank you for thinking of me is always better than an unreliable, yes, I'll try. Your reputation is built on the promises you keep. Trait 4. They refuse to show vulnerability. This is the iron fortress. They are always fine. They are always okay. They are the shoulder to cry on. They solve others' problems. They are the rock, but they never ever show a crack. They never ask for help. They think this makes them strong. In reality, it makes them unknowable. I dated a woman like this. Competent, smart, handled everything. But when she was having a clearly awful day, I'd ask, what's wrong? She'd reply, nothing. Just tired. I'd offer to help. No, I've got it. It was like being in a relationship with a beautiful, polished statue. There was no way in. After 6 months, I left. I told her, I don't feel needed. I don't even feel like I know you. She was shocked. She thought being low maintenance was a good thing. Here's the painful truth. You cannot have a deep connection without mutual vulnerability. When you refuse to show your need or imperfection, you're essentially saying, you can need me, but I will not need you. That's not a friendship. That's a one-way service relationship. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with humanity. This is a misunderstanding of Stoicism. People think Stoics are emotionless. Not true. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is literally a diary of his fears, frustrations, and attempts to be better. He didn't pretend not to feel. He worked with his feelings. How to change this? Start small. Try micro-vulnerability. You don't need to reveal your childhood trauma. Try, I'm actually feeling completely overwhelmed by this project, or I'm feeling a bit lonely today. Just share the feeling. Don't add, but I'll manage. Just share. You're not asking for a rescue. You're offering a window. Trait 5. They constantly complain and see negativity everywhere. There's a type of person known as the energy vampire or the black hole. This isn't just a metaphor. People instinctively protect their energy and eventually they will start protecting it from you. Their presence feels like a constant burden because every conversation is a new list of what's wrong with the world. The weather is bad. Work is awful. The food is tasteless. The boss is an idiot. I had a friend like this. You'd say, what a beautiful day, and he'd reply, my allergies are terrible. You'd say, great food, and he'd say, they put too much ice in my drink. And it was constant. After every meeting with him, I felt like I'd been unloading freight cars. And eventually I started to dread his calls. Not because he was a bad person, but because every minute with him was heavy. Here's what chronic negativity does. It turns you into an emotional burden. People walk away from conversations with you feeling depleted, not uplifted. Because negativity is contagious. When you are its constant source, people instinctively place you in quarantine to protect their own peace of mind. This mindset is the complete opposite of Stoicism, which is founded on the dichotomy of control. There are things we control, our judgments, our reactions, and things we do not control. The weather, other people, traffic. The chronic complainer lives exclusively in the realm of what they do not control, which is what makes them eternally powerless. To change this, try the complaint plus solution rule. If you must voice a complaint, you're not allowed to do so unless you add one of two things. Either a solution, this traffic is awful, tomorrow I'll try leaving 20 minutes earlier, or acceptance, this traffic is awful. Oh well, at least I have time to finish this podcast. This simple shift instantly moves you from the role of victim to the role of agent. Trait 6, they judge others harshly and openly. There's a type you could call the righteous critic. These people have very high standards for everyone except perhaps themselves. They love to gossip, criticize, and judge the choices of anyone not in the room, be they acquaintances or strangers. Their speech is full of phrases like, "Did you see what she was wearing? He only got that promotion because he's a suck-up." Or, "I would never let my kids behave like that." Often this criticism stems from a deep personal insecurity. By judging others, they try to artificially elevate themselves and validate their own choices. They might think this makes them look smarter and more discerning, but everyone around them learns one simple, frightening lesson. When you judge others in front of me, I know you judge me behind my back. This behavior makes trust impossible, creating an atmosphere of fear, not friendship. People simply can't allow themselves to be vulnerable around someone who is constantly holding a judge's gavel. They notice people becoming more reserved, but they blame it on the oversensitivity of others, not their own toxicity. This is the direct opposite of the Stoic approach. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest." But he said this not to condemn them. He did it to prepare himself to remember their flaws are not his business. His business is to remain virtuous despite them. The Stoic always looks inward. The Stoic's job was not to fix the world, but to ensure the world didn't corrupt him. To change this habit, you need to practice compassionate curiosity. When you feel a surge of judgment, stop. Ask yourself, I wonder what story or pain led them to that choice. This simple question instantly switches judgment to empathy and allows you to focus on your own path, not on how badly others are walking theirs. Ultimately, you find peace not when everyone around you meets your standards, but when their standards stop bothering you. Trait 7, they don't respect personal boundaries. There's a type you could call the emotional bulldozer. These people want intimacy and they want it right now, catastrophically confusing intensity with closeness. They are completely unable to read social cues, and for them, no is just an invitation to negotiate. They might text you at 7 a.m., ask deeply personal questions about your past relationships on the second meeting, or get offended if they aren't invited to plans you've had for weeks, often asking, "But we're friends. Why are you being so closed off?" They simply don't understand that friendship is a slow dance, and they are trying to grab their partner and drag them across the floor. Here's what this does. This boundary pushing is not a sign of strong affection. It's a clear sign of disrespect. With this behavior, you are communicating, "My need for connection is more important than your need for comfort and safety." It's no surprise that people don't drift away from you, they flee from you. You are suffocating them. Stoic philosophy explains this. Epictetus was clear when he taught that we only control our own prohoresis, our power of choice, and we have no right to try and control anyone else's. Forcing a connection is exactly that, an attempt to control another's choice. True connection is a gift voluntarily offered by two autonomous people. It cannot be taken by force. To change this pattern, you must practice mirror and match. This means mirroring the pace and energy of the other person. If they send short replies, you reply similarly. If they talk about the weather, you talk about the weather. Allow them to set the pace of intimacy and treat no as well as "I'm busy" or later as a complete and final answer. It's vital to give people space so they can choose you, because only then will that choice be real. Recognizing yourself in one of these traits isn't a failure. It's the opposite. It's the very first, most painful, and most necessary step toward change. The Stoics didn't seek perfection. They sought progress. The very habits that isolated you have now become your roadmap to connection. What stands in the way becomes the way. As Marcus Aurelius taught, you don't have to fix all 7 traits overnight. Pick one, the one that resonated most strongly. Work on that one for the next month. Notice when it shows up, pause, choose differently. Connection is a skill, not a fixed trait, and skills can be learned. These patterns are not you. They are just habits, and you are the master of your habits. Understanding these ideas is just the first step. If you're ready to explore yourself more deeply and use Stoic wisdom to build a more conscious and stronger life, subscribe to the Stoic Tide. That way you won't miss the new insights that will help you on this path. Stay stoic, stay blessed.